welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, welcome to my channel. My name is Haley and I am a current Peace Corps volunteer serving in Cameroon in the health sector 2018 to 2020. I had to refilm the introduction to this video because it ended up being more people than I originally had thought it was going to be, so the first introduction just didn't work out, so I kept refilming. But when I filmed this is actually the next day, when I filmed the video, it was March 18th, which is 6 months in country, and I'm currently at air in-service training, which means I get to see all the other health volunteers from my stage, and I figured what could be something to do for the 6 months. So I did kind of like 6 months in, 6 things you've learned about yourself, about Cameroon, about life in general, whatever. So I talked to a bunch of my friends. In order, as you'll see in the video, is Rachel, Yuval, Denise, and Alec, who are all health stage like me. And 2 of them are in one region, 2 of them are in another, and then I'm in a 3rd region. So all different lives, all different services so far. So it'd be interesting to do. Rachel wants me to start, so I'll start. Okay, first, I learned I'm a lot more resilient than I thought I was. There's definitely a lot of things you face in the Peace Corps, and it's all different depending on your country, depending on your region. But I remember I watched someone else's YouTube video when they were wrapping up their close of service, and they said in it that Peace Corps will break you down and teach you how to rebuild yourself, and that's something I haven't forgotten, because it's really true. Like, they break you down. There's a lot of stuff. 2, I can handle a lot more on my own than I used to be able to in the States. My dog got hit by a car, and I had some help from some volunteers who met me in my regional capital and helped with some translating, but mostly on my own. But I did it, which was very difficult, but it showed me that I can handle things on my own. I didn't think this through before because I wanted to be authentic, so now I gotta think. 3, everyone's post is so different.
Amen. Amen for that. Everyone's post is different.
Yeah, they tell you don't compare your service, and you really should not compare your service, because, you know, like Rachel said, she's got produce. I don't have access to veggies in village. She's about to move into a really big house. I have a tiny house. I have electricity. Someone who's in my same region, who's an hour away, doesn't. And also things are very different. I'm in a very, very conservative region. Rachel, not so much.
Not so much.
Other people can wear show their shoulders, show their knees.
Like this.
So it's very different, and everyone, what they can do in their village is different. Because mine's very conservative, it's very difficult to work with the women, both because they don't speak French, they speak Fulflude, and because you need man's permission for many things. They can't come to the health center without their husband's permission. They can't give birth at the health center without their husband's permission. They can't leave the compound without their husband's permission. It's very difficult in that way. But it just depends on the region, because Rachel was, we did our PST in the same region Rachel lived in, and it's
but also
a lot different.
Also, we did our PST in a different area of where I live. Is Afrique in miniature.
Yes,
truly.
4th, there's just some things you can't really talk about with your family at home, because they just they don't get it. And like I remember doing PST, I was really, really sick, and it wasn't a bad thing. My body was just adjusting. I lost a lot of weight. My body was just adjusting, but it was I was talking to my family about it. But I know my mom and my grandma, I believe, were getting very worried about me.
I was getting worried too.
Yeah, but It's just
She made it.
Just fine. But it just, you know, there's just like a lot of things. Your life is very different than everyone else in the States right now. Fifth thing that I've learned, Cameroonians can be really, really nice. Like, they can be some of the nicest people you've ever met. They're so willing to let you into their houses and give you food. And like, I haven't been fed yet. Rachel's like fed all the time, I think.
I'm fed. Well, we also have very different personalities, and we live in very different cultures.
Yeah, I can't talk to the women who would then offer to feed me. I don't know how they. I'm go always eat. So.
Yeah. So. Okay, continue on.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was 5, right?
Yes. 5.
Number
6.
6. I think I've learned that I still have a lot to learn, both about myself and about my region and about just life in general. And it's only been 6 months. We still have 21 more months. And like, I already know how much I've changed. I'm eating food that I wouldn't eat in the States. Like, we're currently in the capital of Cameroon, and like, I'm eating hamburgers, and I don't eat that in the States. I eat green beans in my village, and I don't eat that in this. I'm a super picky eater, but I'm eating a lot more. But there's definitely, like, I've already changed so much and discovered so much about myself in just 6 months, and I still have 21 more months left, so I can't even imagine how much I'm going to change. But those are mine.
Yeah, I'd have to say, well, my Peace Corps experience has been very different than Haley's. As you'll see in a different video, I'm older than Haley, and I had a lot of experience outside of college in working stuff. So I would say one thing that one of my best friends back in the States, number one thing I've learned is your problems will follow you. Your bad habits will follow you into your service. So just embrace those things and work on them, because you have a lot of time. I mean, depending, or your problems will follow you. I would say
that's what you've learned about.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I've learned about, yes. And Haley can attest to this also. And so yeah, things will come up, and you have to, well, you don't have to face them, but if you don't face them, then they're gonna keep coming up, and then it's not gonna be good because you're making stupid decisions. So yeah, that's one thing that I've learned, that different things that you might struggle with in the States, they are so different in country because of all the cultural differences. And yeah, so second is just keep trying with language, because I really struggled with my language before. I did not pass all my LPIs in like the regulated time. I had to retake my LPI during service, and that was, you know, anxiety provoking, but thankfully, just be open to learning new things about your village, your post. Yeah, just be willing to be a humble learner. That's what I would say, because things are going to be really different in your village, and especially if you come to Cameroon, like, Cameroonians are really particular about a lot of things. Next thing, learned you have to look presentable all the time. I'm dating a Cameroonian, and even when he was in the hospital, he's like, you gotta look good even if you go to the toilet. And, you know, in the US, it's not that way. You know, you can just like, look, you just don't have vibe is, I think something that I went with also, yes, I think that it's, yeah, have boundaries with your village. That's really important, because I live in a very different village than Haley does, and really, like, where my house is really, well, my current house that's falling apart that I will soon be moving out of, it's really close to the junior high school, lycée, and I didn't establish the best boundaries in the beginning, and I've had a lot of thefts from my house. And yes, establish really good boundaries with your village, because the sixth thing I learned is, it has to do with Cameroonian culture. Body hair is not a big thing for women, especially, which is actually very more about from your site and from your host country than probably they're gonna learn from you, even if you're teaching them amazing things, because you're just gonna learn so much about life in a different country. So yes, those are the 6 semi-scattered things.
It's really important for me to be around like family, being around friends, being around people who like I have connection to. So I've learned that like it's important to be patient and wait for those relationships to come to fruition. The second thing I learned is that you can get used to anything real quick. And like obviously things are harder. There are certain things that are harder to get used to and then maybe you can't, but I think that we think that people in different countries and different lifestyles, like we think that they live so differently and it's almost like impossible to like really connect with them. And I feel like at the end of the day, like it's not that much. I mean, it's very different in terms of lifestyle and like in terms of the things that you're used to and all that, but I think that it's really, I don't know, the material differences are not as important as like I guess I thought they were before. Like it was really, you know, I feel like we all adjusted pretty quickly to it in terms of getting used to no electricity and no water and stuff. So third thing that I learned is that you may be able to do something. You may feel like you have all the capabilities and all the abilities to, but that doesn't mean that you have to. I think that's something that I really learned, because I feel like, you know, I kind of grew up being like, you can do it, like this, you know, like stick with it, like, and I think that's important to have perseverance, but I think it's important to also realize just because you can do it doesn't mean you should, or doesn't mean that you have to, if it's not bringing you what it needs to. So I think that's something that I learned. I think I'm on 4, right?
Yeah, I think you're about to go on 4.
Okay. So the 4th thing that I learned is that culture can be very different, and different cultures can definitely affect people's views on certain issues, but I think that at the end of the day, they don't have as much, like they're not as deeply rooted as I anticipated them to be with the people that I've interacted with. Like culture is definitely something that's important, but I think that like people all over the world are very susceptible to changing their mindset, and they're very susceptible to hearing different views. So of course there's the extreme people who are not, but I think that for me what I learned is that not everything is about like cultural barriers. There could just be personality differences. There could be, you know, even within our group of volunteers, completely different. The thing I've learned is, is that Cameroonians are really resourceful. They're maybe like they may be the most resourceful people I've ever come into contact with. Like every single thing, they find a way to use it to help them like get through life, you know. And I think that like it's something that at least I never thought about before. Like how can I reuse this empty jar that I like had? I don't know. It's just, yeah, it's always something that like they're thinking about, and I think that like it made me appreciate more, you know, the things that I use and how, you know, to be creative. I feel like they're extremely creative, extremely resourceful. And I guess the last thing that I've learned since being here for 6 months is that it's really important to be patient with yourself. I feel like that's because, you know, it's not easy to put yourself in situations where you're pretty much 24/7 out of your comfort zone. You're basically existing out of your comfort zone. And so I think it's just important that like when you're putting yourself in those situations, to allow yourself to have moments where you just want to be comfortable, or moments where you want to be with someone that you love, or moments, you know, where you're not feeling happy and like it's okay. So I think that that's just something that I guess those are the 6 things that I learned.
Those are the good ones, yeah.
So yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
We're 6 months in.
I know, it's crazy. Half a year. What the heck?
But I'm gonna give it a shot. So I will say one thing, the biggest thing that I think I felt like I've learned is that I'm not flexible. I came here with this idea that I can adapt to anything, that I'm not gonna have a problem, and it's been tough. It's been tough just living on a daily basis, trying to get food, and it's not because there's not food, but just because
There's not food in your village.
there's no food in my village. There's not a lot of variety, so there's a lot of fish. Second thing, how much I love my family. I think part of me wanted to leave them. Not leave them because we don't get along or anything, but leave them in the sense like,
Get some space.
yeah, maybe, yeah, I think space is a good word, but it's more like, I'm gonna live my life, I don't need you guys, I can do this on my own. And I realized that I love them. Like I really love them. They're super great, and I think this experience has made me just like miss them so much and appreciate how amazing family can be, especially with the support they've been able to provide me here during my first few months here. In as much as the third thing, in as much as I'm well versed in traveling the world, the culture shock is still so difficult to grasp, and it's hard, and I think it's hard to learn that people are very different and think very differently. So that's been definitely number 3. I think I've learned how to identify more with myself, my culture, and who I am. As a minority back in the States, you are a minority, but as someone who has white skin here, I'm not a minority, I'm a majority. So that I've been struggling and learning how to identify more with just who I am and where I come from and my roots. 5, you find the most amazing friends in the most random places, right? Like, you know, you come in here, I think there was like 40 something of us that started staging, and you just never know who you're gonna be friends with, right? Who you're gonna click with. Now we're on to 6, right? I think that the last thing that I've learned is that I can do it, that we all can do it, right? That, you know, you're put into these very difficult situations and you learn to adapt, and then sometimes you start to feel like it's normal because you learn how to live there. So, yeah.
Because it becomes normal for us. Because we've been here 6 months today.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, that's what I
6 phrases. You need a lot less water than you think. You need a lot less food than you think. You need a lot less human interaction than you think. You need a lot less internet than you think. We're all people. We're all the same. People do bad things. People do good things. We make mistakes. We make wonderful things happen. And then the patriarchy is alive and well. And those are the 6 things I learned in Peace Corps Cameroon.
Watching the video, I know it was kind of long. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you want. Your choice. Don't tell you how to live your life. And if you have like any questions or anything you want me to film, like any videos you want to see, just put it in the comments below and I will try to answer the question. Try to film the video if I can. Can't promise I can, but I'll try. Thanks for watching. Bye.